Hi, hello. Thank you for joining. We're live with Archiago. Now we're connecting with Ms. Zainab Safri. She is an architect based in the United States. We're going to be connecting with her and finding out more about the life of a young architect in the States. Zainab, would be great if you could send me a request that we can get on with the session. Hi, hello. Thank you for connecting. We're live with Archiago. Hi, Zainab, how are you? Would be great if you could send me a request. Awesome, I have your request. I'm going to hold on to it. We're going to wait for a few more people to join, and then we'll start off with the day's session. Hi guys, hello. Hi. Thank you for joining. We're live with RG Alco. We're going to wait for a few more people to join, and then we'll start off with the day's session. Hi, hello. Okay, Assalamu alaikum guys. Hi Sundar, how are you? Thank you for joining. Assalamu alaikum guys. My name is Mujahid. I'm an architect, and I also happen to be one of the directors at Archiago Pakistan. Archiago is a platform that aims to bridge the gap between artists, architects, designers from all over the country. We're connecting with Ms. Zainab Safri today. She's an architect who's based in the United States. So we're going to be connecting with her in just a bit and finding out more about the life of a young architect in the States. So, and we're connecting with Zainab. Waiting to connect. And we are live.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
It's been long.
Yeah, it's been forever. So, Suraji, how's the coronavirus treating you? Yeah, the lockdown for that matter.
New York isn't any different. Of course, New York doesn't feel like New York anymore, but other than that, I think it's doing well compared to Pakistan at this point in time. So people are still getting out. Some people are wearing masks, some people aren't. So it's just a bit of both, really.
Acha. Are you working somewhere?
Right now I'm freelancing, but I'm also like joining school. So I kind of wanted to take a month gap to kind of get back in the school zone. Yeah, grad school.
Oh, wow, that is so cool. किस चीज में कर रहे हैं आप मास्टर्स?
Architecture.
नहीं यार, isn't it? I mean, like what
It's gonna have so it's the program is like a 2.5-year program, but it has a mix of like just residency and then like real estate, sustainability, all of that stuff. So it's a mix.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Achha, that's great. So you're not coming back to Pakistan anytime soon, are you?
I'm hoping I can. With how things are going, I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but yeah, let's see. Let's see how things work. At this point in time, I don't know. But
अच्छा, तो अभी आप पाकिस्तान में प्रोजेक्ट्स के ऊपर तो काम कर रहे हो ना?
Yeah, I'm working with my dad on a couple of projects, but other than that, there are like other people who I'm kind of collaborating with, mix. It's just here and there, everywhere type. I'm also helping another friend with another project, but that's not architecture related. So it's like here, there, everywhere, just keeping yourself busy at this point in time, but not too busy because like a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 is just not doable when I'm trying to get into grad school right now, at least. So I'm trying to see if I can intern other places as well. So let's see.
Intern
in the sense that no, not architecturally, with other fields as well. So like real estate and stuff is, because over here it's more stringent, right? It's like you have to have, even within a specialization, you have to have like some sort of experience before you can actually get into it full time. So then if I want to do something that is sustainable designing and stuff, whereas my core wasn't sustainable designing, then obviously I'd have to intern first and then get into it. If that makes sense.
Say. Okay. That's good.
Because licensing rules
Acha.
over here are very different compared to Pakistan. Pakistan, it's like BARC kara and then you're licensed. यहाँ पे you do BARC, then you get you have to work 3,740 hours. Then उसके बाद you take
Shit,
your
wow.
EARE, and then you get it. So it's a little more intense.
Do you guys have those tests and all as well?
The licensing exams.
Licensing exams, yeah.
Yeah, so NCARB का board होता है, and then that board basically gives you like certain exams that you have to take, but before you're qualified to take those, you have to complete 3,740 hours, which are
Oh,
divided
acha.
into Sector A and Sector O. So
Sector
if
A and Sector O. What
Sector
are
A
those?
is basically being or working under an architect who's a supervisor for you within the US, and he's US
Okay.
licensed. Because NCARB is
Okay.
affiliated with US, Mexico, Canada, Australia. And then UK का different system है. And then Pakistan का obviously different system है. So like if you become an architect, I guess in the US, you can practically practice elsewhere too, because IBC follow होता है ना at the end of the day. But it's more like a proper professional school sort of a thing versus just undergrad type of a thing. So you just have to like practice, take the exam.
But is that a wise thing to do? I mean, अगर आप अपना क्या आप degree आप अपनी US से लो और फिर बाकी आप यूरोप या किसी और जगह जाके practice करो?
So it gets really crazy that way. Like, sure, you'll have certain skills here and there, but it's the same thing. Like medicine law, yeah, law. It's like, say, if you do it from UK, then for you to kind of convert your degree into US or somewhere else, it's harder. Like architecture, I have a couple of cousins who've done architecture elsewhere too, and one of them who's done it in the UK, they have a process of REBA, which is very different from the process over here, which is NCARB based. But NCARB is good because NCARB at least kind of affiliates itself with Canada, Mexico, and US. But US, maybe all the states have different rules and regulations. So say if I get licensed in Texas or New York, I can't sign off documents in Wisconsin unless, of course,
Acha.
I become a architect there or I transfer my license there as well. So it's like
Acha, if you
saying
do
DHA के अंदर नहीं होता like, oh, you should be affiliated with DHA, but at the same time Clifton का different है, Kant का एक different system है. फिर within, so imagine that this being not only state-wise but also country-wise, and it's just a whole different. It's like it blows your mind, and you're like, oh shit, why did I not know about this when I was joining it? But it is what it is. If you want to get licensed.
सही. अच्छा तो आप लोग अगर जैसे 5 साल का अगर बैचलर्स इन आर्किटेक्चर के बारे में बात करते हैं तो क्या-क्या प्रोग्राम्स हैं जो आप लोग क्या-क्या कोर्सेज हैं जो आप लोगों को पढ़ाए जाते हैं एंड डू यू गाइस हैव अ फाउंडेशन ईयर एज वेल?
So typically foundation year, more or less, in the sense every school is very different and studios are very different. Studios are very selective and very prereq based. So it just depends on where you are coming, because everyone joins school at a very different, not only age, but I'd say with a different skill set. So for me, it was like I did A levels. So I did art. And because of art, I had like a lot of, my portfolio was based off on architecture. So that really helped me because I knew how to draw things. I knew how to paint things. So the first year is typically at my school, it was more or less dealing with how to draw the basic things, but also dealing with model making, axonometrics, and isometrics, all of those things. But it was more manual because for any profession, first you need to know the very basic, right, which is manual drafting. Then you go on to manual and digital both, and then further onwards out, you kind of mix it more and more and more together. Because these are skills that you don't want to lose just because you get digital. So it should be a bit of both.
Say. Do you miss manual drafting? I mean, I do, time to time.
I enjoyed it during school, but aside from that, I don't really love manual drafting because there's no Control Z, Control C, Control S. But I enjoy sketching and painting quite a bit, so I'm not gonna lose that. Manual drafting, I paint quite a bit. I have like this 4x6 key painting outside just lying there, which I'm like, I don't know what to do, so I'm probably gonna just give it away. But I paint quite a bit. And for architecture, it's like sketching and stuff, obviously you should know. you should be very much into it because you want to not lose that touch. But drafting,
course.
it's great, but I don't love it. I would tell people that yes, if you want to get into architecture, you should start with the very basics. I know how to do it.
True.
It's not what I love to do.
Of course, of course. अच्छा तो मुझे ये बताएं कि how do you handle tight deadlines?
So I'm more of, so a little background. My dad did architecture, right? So I have a firm in Pakistan and everything. And so growing up, I always was like, yes, I want to be an architect and stuff like that. But then when I joined school, in my second year, I came to the realization that I don't just want to do architecture. I want to do something based on communications as well. So that's why I got into public relations. And because of that, that really helped me kind of widen my perspective that beyond the walls of a specific studio, there's like a whole other degree, couple of other degrees too, and everyone deals with different deadlines in different ways. So a lot of people tend to be like very good with time management skills, and it's great to be like that. But with architecture, there's no like, oh, I'm going to be like 2 to 5 work here and get done with it. Because even though it may be subjective, there's a little bit of objectiveness that comes in, and that objectiveness kind of delays your subjectiveness, if that makes sense. So say that you're about to have like 5 walls, but your design changes for some reason, structurally or whatever it is. That will basically end up changing your model and changing everything in it's sequential to all the changes that may happen. And because of that, you'll end up like kind of being like, oh shit, 5 hours instead of 5 hours, I'm spending like 7 hours on this. So for me, I've like, mashallah, always met my deadlines and I know like I need to meet them. However, I will pull all-nighters through and through and make it happen. So I think it's like kind of saying that, hey, like, always put yourself at that buffer zone that say if your deadline is on a Wednesday at 2 p.m., I will start doing bits and pieces nonetheless. Because if you have a course load that's very heavy, like I used to do 20 hours of school, 20 hours of work. So I was pretty much swamped 40 hours just in class and at work. And then added studio isn't like, hey, it's just 3 hours a week. It's practically 9 hours of in class, even though they say 3 hours a week. But also outside those 9 hours, you're probably spending like 18 hours just trying to get work done for the 9 hours.
True.
So you just have to keep yourself at a buffer zone, be prepared, do bits and pieces so that at the very end, you're not like screwed more or less. So.
Okay. So Zainab, what's your creative process like?
So I feel like creative process, even though there's no one answer to it, there are like multiple answers, and I think it's very programmatic and what your end goal is. So for things like, I've always been like the sort that I would always research like a crazy amount. I will get obsessed with researching, and I will read reviews, I'll see different places. I personally like the approach of, say you're my studio professor and you go like, or my client, and you go like, hey, I want to know how to do, I want to give you a project regarding museums, okay? For me to do museums, it is not limited to me just reading it online or through a book. Yes, research is one thing, but research is not only in the more physical aspect of just by book or by screen. I would like to go to the place and understand and immerse myself in that space. Once I do that, I get a fair and better knowledge of how space works with that person, how I can impact a person with it. And then after that, I will take that creative process into creating different designs, different ways that I can impact them. First comes concept, obviously. Why are you doing this? What your end goal is, who your client is. Once you're getting around the basic answers to your question, you'll be able to figure those problems out and come up with the design narrative.
Okay.
So that's breakdown, a very fast breakdown of how I do it, but.
Right. Actually, do you prefer working as a team or do you prefer working alone?
I think everything has pros and cons. So right now, since I'm not working with a team, I really like working alone. Because I mean, I think for my projects, I'm like I mean, technically, I am working in a team because I'm working with my dad and stuff, but I think a lot has to deal with the fact that it just depends on how crazy the project is and who you're dealing with, how your team works,
Yes.
what their approach is, if they're being collective, if they're being respectful, if they're adding value to your team. Even if they're not adding value, obviously the idea of learning is great. That's how we all start, right? We don't go out of school and learning and knowing everything. Practically,
Of
architecture
course.
doesn't really teach you so much as your experiences teach you.
I see.
So I think it's more like as long as you have a good group of people that you're with who understand, respect, and willingly work towards a certain goal, I would love to work in a team. I haven't had any bad experiences in teams yet, but I know that
Really?
these are basic. Yeah, I somehow haven't.
That's lucky.
Um, yeah. But I just feel like, yes, you can be very active and efficient when you're working by yourself. When you're working with other people, there can be a sense of activeness and efficiency if they're on the same page as you.
True.
However, if they're different minds with different thoughts and different ideas, sure, that's great because you get more sets of minds and hands. But it can be controversial with certain things because design is not very objective. It's subjective at the end of the day.
True.
So
So true. अच्छा जी, like you mentioned earlier that you worked in different countries around the world, तो आपने क्या notice किया कि किस जगह पे किस तरीके से काम हो रहा है?
I think बहुत culture based होता है और बहुत
अच्छा.
like ethic based होता है. जैसे पाकिस्तान में the culture is different. Like work culture, work ethics are different. Um, People in Austria are very different when they're working. People in Korea are very different. People in America are very different. So it just really depends. And even it's not even limited to, hey, like this country is like this overall. It's also like that specific person in that country or that city. So it's very
अच्छा.
individualized. Like you can't be like culture obviously impact karega aapko, but say that you're someone who graduated from Harvard or MIT. To even begin to go to a school like that, you have to be very rigorous, right? So your thought process or the way that you work is very different. And no matter where world may place you or whichever country you're in, because of your individualized approach to things, you will always, I guess, flourish. Not saying that every MIT or Harvard grad is like flourishing, but I'm just giving an example that if that's how you see things, you don't necessarily have to be a graduate of a high school. You can be self-learn and you can just have strong principles, but you'll be able to deal with things in a better way. So it's just, I think मुझे तो बहुत culture wise different feel like because some countries people are very laid back or at least they're
अच्छा.
stereotyped as being laid back. Some countries people are very extra effective and efficient. Like whenever I've dealt with people, Asian people necessarily, specifically from China or from Japan, Vietnamese, they're just so fast. They're like so
अच्छा.
good with their hands. They're so strong when they come to like design concepts. Like I had one of my best friends in school. She was just so amazing with her thing. What I would take maybe like 5 hours to do, she would take 2 hours and she'd be done. But also it was because her set of experiences were different. She had odd jobs that she worked in where there was a lot of hand stuff that she did. And because of that, when it came to model making, she was just like this. But whereas conceptually, she wasn't as strong as, for instance, my approach was. I would take more time with my concept. And then when it came to model making, it would be like, okay, maybe 5 pillars ki bajaye, chalo do dal diye, structurally
बन
speaking.
गया.
Just kidding,
हाँ.
though. You don't want the building to fall, but like, you know what
Of
I'm
course.
saying?
नहीं नहीं
So I
बिल्कुल.
think it's very
Understand.
jugaad at the end of the day, if you were to say it.
हाँ. अच्छा जी, तो if you were not to be an architect, क्या दूसरा career path सोचा हुआ था आपने अपने लिए?
In a very unrealistic world, I thought I'd be a plastic surgeon. But I
Whoa.
felt like, yeah, I don't think I want to do that just because
That's
there's too
happening.
much blood involved. But
Yeah.
if there was something that was more, I mean, for like in the art-based thing, it was always architecture because I feel like architecture is like really the mother of all arts. Once you get that degree, you're practically able to do any and everything. It not only
कुछ भी कर सकते
covers
हैं, बिल्कुल.
अब specialize नहीं करते, for instance, graphic designing के अंदर but you can really do graphic designing. But like graphic designers will not be able to do architecture stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's a subset and
So true.
superset. So I think not, even though I know शायद यहाँ पे थोड़े graphic designers होंगे, I mean no offense, but I'm just saying it from the perspective that it's a subset and superset. Say that a doctor can probably do a nurse ka role, but a nurse will not be able to do a doctor's role, kind of a thing.
Of course. Acha ji, so this is our second last question for the evening. Tell us about your best and worst experience at your university. It could be a jury, an event, or anything. Sheeter veeter to nahi phati hongi kabhi kisi jury mein. I don't think you guys
Yeah.
had that there.
So this was actually funny. This is not my experience personally, but I was there in the jury. There was this one professor. So you obviously come across a lot of different people when you're, working or when you're at school. So one of the things was that studio is tough and people are subjective. So ultimately, there was one professor who was a male chauvinist, who was very anti-Zaha Hadid, anti-females doing architecture, anti-Muslims. Okay, he was very racist like that. However, he was funny in a very mean way. So like, say if he's doing it to you, obviously you're gonna cry. But if he's doing it to you, the other people will find it funny because it's just how his brain used to kind of like work. So there's this one jury that happened, and this was I think third year, and this incident went so viral that it was insane. So he's an old dude who always used to wear a black t-shirt and blue jeans, to the point where second year of school I was just like, dude, does he not have enough clothes, or why does he not change the color of his clothes? And then I came to the realization that just taking his studio made me understand that architects typically like to stick to the blacks and the blues. In fact, I found a picture of him on Facebook way back when he was probably 13 or 14, and he was wearing the same outfit.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And it was fall semester, the fall, mein, thand ho jati, and you're like, oh, maybe he's going to wear a coat, and maybe the coat is going to be a different color. But the coat is also black. And I'm like, okay, dude, what is going on? However, acha chalo, ek jury ke andar, there was one guy presenting, and the guy had put his drawings up the wall, and he was just like, oh yeah, this is my project, and this is why, this is what, blah, blah, blah. His project kind of, I didn't see it like that, but his project apparently to Bill seemed like, oh, there's like, okay, so Bill walks up to the wall and he takes a pen and he draws a person, and then he draws wheels. And then he was like, this is me running away from your project on his hand drafted drawing. And then after that, he tears the drawing and just like puts it in the dumpster. So it was funny with the sense that he drew himself and he's like, oh yeah, look, this is me running away from your drawing. But the fact that he, kind of tore it and threw it, that was kind of rude. A lot of professors have also like broken people's models and stuff, saying that, oh, this is trash. What are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be doing architecture. So there's a lot of demotivation and like discouragement. But then that's where you kind of deal with that criticism and you have to come out of it. And I think once you do and deal with that, it's just a learning experience for yourself as a person, because you can deal with that like in relationships, in work environments, in different cultures, because you'll be strong as a metal and you'll be like, hey, say whatever you want to say to me, I will come out successful. So
True.
I think
true.
a lot has
I
to
never
do
thought
with that.
for some strange reason, I never thought कि दुनिया के बाकी हिस्सों में भी ये होता है. I mean, it's so strange.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's subjective, and maybe they've like, say, if we have that kind of experience personally, we will always be, not always, but we will more or less be subjected to doing that with our students too. Or maybe we will have a reverse psychology and be like, no, dude, this happened with me. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't happen with kids I teach. But like a lot of these men or a lot of these people who teach, they're either dealing with professors back in their days who treated them that way, or it's just this sort of aggressiveness that you're not really helping people out when it comes to helping out versus just putting them down. Oops, sorry. This is a very selected type of people and selective clique within architecture. So I'm kind of happy that I got to see not only the good side and the good clique, but also the bad clique, so that I know where I want to be in life. Because that really teaches you. If you just see the good or just see the bad, you're never going to be exposed to the other side and make your
Same.
own like selection that, hey, I want to be this.
किस
So,
तरीके से करना है क्या करना है सही सही अच्छा
yeah.
so Zara, this is our final question for the evening and frankly my favorite question, what do you think about Artiago and do you have any suggestions for Artiago?
I really like these talks and stuff that you're doing, because when it comes to actually getting into the work field of architecture, even going to school, people are very like people will always say that I want to do architecture, I want to do this and stuff. Some of the very like stereotypical questions that one gets as an architect or gets as a designer is like, oh, you draw really well, right? And it's not a necessary thing that I joined the field because I draw well or I want to draw well. It is more structural. It is more I wouldn't say engineering based, but it's a lot more math and physics that people typically kind of look back towards and say, oh, no, you just draw well and that's why you're an architect. I do feel that in the profession we get underpaid. We shouldn't be getting that low paid when people are still like spending the same amount of time and getting paid a higher amount. I think that's just a more like we should sign a petition and make this a revolutionary thing and change the way that the world works, because we really do spend a lot of time in school and the efforts we put, because architecture is one of those fields that are subjective, but you spend so much time, so much effort, more than like typical business grads or any other grads, not to like isolate
Agreed.
business grads,
Agreed.
but you don't make that much amount for the amount of mental and physical effort that you put in within the field. So that's one thing, but I mean, Artiago, as far as that is concerned, I just feel like it's a good platform for students who are trying to get into the field and for other professionals who are trying to connect and link themselves up, because that eventually really helps in terms of, oh, I know Mujahid, yeah, he's running Artiago and he's also helping people. It's like what you learn and what you're giving back to the community and the society in general. So I think that's great as an initiative.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it was great talking to you, Zaina, after so long. I mean, it's been almost a decade, yeah. So it was really nice connecting with you, and yeah, thank you for taking our time and joining us today.
All right, thank you for having me. Hope everyone
Thank
got
you.
some insight to this. So I
Yeah,
hope there's some sort of help that I did. Alrighty, thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
thank you. Bye bye.